You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Friday the 16th of May 2025 and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And it's been a strange day today. Yesterday, even though the previous day I'd flown back from Arizona, yesterday I felt no symptoms of jet lag at all. I edited signed off 5 chapters, was full of beans. It just felt normal. And then when I went to bed, I could not get to sleep for hours. But I was determined to get up at a sensible time because, well, basically, next time I go to work on Monday, I've got to get up at 5 a.m. to be able to go. So I want to be waking up early. And so when my body woke up, rather than do what I normally would have done and go back to bed, I decided to kind of get up and try and do something. However, I literally printed off chapter 17. Thought, right, well, we'll do this at least. And then I didn't. I just couldn't. I glanced through it and thought, right, I'll go online in a minute. And I'm sitting there in my dressing gown thinking, like, just need to get out the dressing gown and, have a shower, put some proper clothes on before I do this. And it just never happened. And I was not in the mood for it. And I thought maybe later I'll find my mojo. And I'd agreed to meet up with some friends from my writing group, including T.G. Campbell. We'd said 4 o'clock, but my plan was to be there a little bit earlier and do a bit more work. And in the end, I was so tired. I ended up going and dozing for a couple of hours before I got into the car at 3 and then drove to meet. And and when we were there was a new writer there, and it wasn't the kind of session. Sometimes when we meet at that place, a load of us write. Sometimes we don't. This was one of those occasions where people weren't writing. And also there was somebody there that I haven't seen for quite a while as well as a new person. So we just ended up having a very, very long talk, and it was nice. And I probably wouldn't have got any useful work done anyway because I was so tired. But I've also been thinking about the scene that I've been agonising about for the last 2 days, and was, brave enough to actually describe it yesterday. The more I think about it, the more I realise that it just wouldn't have happened because the character Marianne, they are so aware, hyper aware, I would argue, of what happened in Mackenzie's past, that their first thought would be, well, they wouldn't even think of that because they would worry it would freak him out. So, yeah. So the one decision I have reached, and I was kind of talking to Tanya about it, and so she was sort of saying, but was asking about the psychological impact on Mackenzie that happening and what we're going through his head. And I'd kind of decided to address that at a later stage. But the more I thought about it, the more I realised it just wouldn't have happened, as I say, because Marianne would have just, having recently been told about what happened to him when he was younger, they would just be, as I said, hyper aware that it would be inappropriate and would probably freak him out. So I haven't unwritten that scene yet because I'm not in the mood to write today. But before I start on chapter 17, I need to go and change that moment in chapter 16. And I can't decide quite what to do. So I will mull it over before I actually do that. Hopefully tomorrow. I've still got 2 days to sign off 4 chapters to get me to where I want to be on the 30th or whatever. Is it 30 days of November, April, June? So 31st. So I've still effectively got 13 days once I go back to work. Not that I'm going to be able to do all of them, work on all of them. So yeah, so that is going to go. And there's not really much else I can talk about today. I will briefly mention Doctor Who, but not go into any spoilers. But generally, I think it's been a much stronger season this year. I think all the episodes have had a lot more going for them than the previous year. You haven't had any absolute crap like Space Babies. So yeah, it will be interesting to see where tomorrow's goes. But of course, the other thing about tomorrow is they've created an episode that's supposed to tie in with the Eurovision Song Contest. It's an episode about the Intergalactic Song Contest. Unfortunately, the FA Cup final falls on the same day. Now, the FA Cup final is going to be broadcast at a specific time. The Eurovision Song Contest, also being a live event, is going to be broadcast at a specific time. Doctor Who is scheduled to be broadcast in the 50 minutes immediately before the Eurovision Song Contest. But if the FA Cup final goes into extra time, there will be no time to broadcast Doctor Who. So that's going to be interesting. I have to keep my fingers crossed that that doesn't happen, because I've heard on the grapevine that tomorrow's episode is quite revealing and obviously sets up the finale, which is a 2-part story that starts the following week. So yes, it has been good, but yeah. And the other thing that's really interesting was the voice of the person who was supposed to be feeding back the scores from the UK was meant to be Doctor Who himself, Ncuti Gatwa. However, he's pulled out at literally the 11th hour. I don't think a reason has been given, but there's lots of speculation that it's to do with, so they've banned pride flags and anything like that. Anything that could be perceived as overtly political has been banned from the ceremony this year. And could that have something to do with it? I don't know. I mean, obviously in the UK, it's... well, they always call it the gay equivalent of the FA Cup final, which is interesting because both fall on the same day. But I don't think it is such... I mean, it isn't only gay people to watch. Of course it isn't. But it has been kind of adopted as a sort of a bit of an iconic gay thing. And so I don't know if Ncuti's reluctance to appear now is due to a clash of circumstances, or if it's because of the decision not to allow the pride flag. I really don't know. I probably shouldn't speculate. But he won't be doing it. It's going to be done by Sophie Ellis-Bextor instead. So that's cool. Anyway, hopefully I will do some writing tomorrow. If I don't, I don't. But there we go. Thank you for listening. I will be back. Take care. Oh, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. And I will be back Sunday. I'm flying and working most of Monday, so there won't be an episode on Monday. Just to let you know, just so you're not too disappointed. Take care, bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.